Hey everybody, welcome back to the channel. Coming at you with another film review. You can see here, my uncle just finished wood burning this. It's about Terrifier 2. This one was not for the faint of heart. Terrifier 2 is far more gruesome and disgusting than the first one. It's also longer too, by almost an entire hour. It also has more substance and character than the first one, which I appreciate greatly. The movie picks up where the last one left off, with Art being resurrected in the coroner's office and finishing that fool off once and for all. He heads to a local laundromat to wash his outfit, where he discovers an entity only known as the Little Pale Girl, who is dressed in a similar fashion. And there they have a really disgusting, fun time. And look, it's a horrible scene. She like pees out this black goop, and I'm just like, Damien Leone, you okay, dude? We time skip a year to see Sienna, a cosplayer, finishing up a costume that her dad designed for her before he died, and her brother Jonathan, who's been obsessed with Art the Clown and wants to dress up as him for Halloween. Sienna and their overbearing and really just kind of mean mom talk about how troubling Jonathan's fixation is with that whole, well, don't be surprised if he starts playing with dead animals being thrown out there, and that'll come into play later. You see, Jonathan found their father's sketchbook and believes that he could predict, or at least had some kind of telepathic ability that allowed him to sketch out all of Art's victims and knows how to stop him. The final sketch is of Sienna in a Valkyrie costume holding up Art's decapitated head. Of course, she's skeptical about the entire thing. The sketchbook comes up again a few times, and it's also how we find out that the Little Pale Girl was actually Art's first victim, a 10-year-old girl named Emily who was killed at a carnival. That's brutal, man. A 10-year-old is your first victim? What the fuck? Sienna has an extended nightmare sequence where she's on the set for a commercial for Art the Clown branded cereal. The bit goes on for far too long and is soundtracked by a commercial tune that's almost as annoying as Silver Shamrock from Halloween 3.
Drop on by the Clown Cafe. Drop on by the Clown Cafe.
The kills in the nightmare are brutal as hell and culminates in a fire magically being set in Sienna's room while she's sleeping, destroying the entire costume that she made except for a short sword that was given to her by her dad. The next day at school, Jonathan sees Art and the Little Pale Girl playing with a dead opossum in the hallway. They toss the corpse at him, staining his shirt with blood, and then he gets caught by a teacher roaming the halls and is blamed for the entire mess. Meanwhile, Sienna and her friends talk about Victoria Hayes' breakdown from the beginning of the last movie, which sends Sienna into a panic attack. Her friend Allie helps calm her down by accompanying her to a costume shop to buy new wings, and there, they encounter Art. There's a very amusing bit where Sienna's keeping an eye on Art, and every time she turns around he's wearing a new pair of funny glasses. You've seen the memes. After she purchases the wings and leaves the store, Art kills the clerk. This is where things get really fucked up. The next death in the movie is that of Sienna's friend Allie, and this death is straight up torture porn, and I don't use that term lightly, as I think a lot of movies with heaps of gore get unnecessarily lumped with that title. You know, movies like Saw. Saw is not torture porn. It's a thriller with a lot of gore. It's not torture porn. Hostel would be more like torture porn. Now, I'm not saying Terrifier 2 is a torture porn movie, but this particular kill is. Art spends a considerable amount of time torturing and maiming Allie and setting her body up like a deranged animatronic. When Allie's mom walks in on this, Art kills her in a much quicker fashion. This absolutely tops Dawn's vivisection from the first movie. And I'm just gonna ask again, Damien Leone, are you okay, man? Fun fact, they did an Indiegogo campaign to raise money for this particular scene specifically. The goal was $50,000 and they ended up raising $250,000 by the end of the campaign. At a Halloween party where Sienna's other friend Brooke spikes her drink with MDMA to help calm her down, real great friend there you have, Sienna. Sienna has another panic attack after seeing the pale little girl and demands that she gets taken home. Brooke and her boyfriend attempt to, but Sienna gets a call from Jonathan, luring her to a rundown carnival. This is actually the Little Pale Girl doing an impersonation. They arrive and Sienna gets out of the car to look for her brother. Brooke and Jeff are like, alright, now that she's gone, how about we do some coke and fuck? But Art's like, hey, haven't you heard? No drugs and sex in slasher movies, and kills the both of them. Sienna finds Brooke's corpse and has a little fight with Art until he knocks her out. She awakens to discover Jonathan currently being tortured by Art. An extended fight sequence begins with Sienna and Art killing each other multiple times, and I mean multiple times. This might tie or beat The Return of the King for the amount of false endings in this movie. Art dies and then is resurrected, Sienna dies and then is resurrected until eventually Sienna gets the upper hand and fulfills that sketch her dad did by decapitating Art and rescuing her brother. The little pale girl enters and steals away Art's head. In the mid-credit scene, we see two nurses, one of which is played by the Ocho, Chris Jericho. The other is on her way to attend to Victoria Hayes, who's since been institutionalized after she mutilated that talk show host. We see her throwing up and using her own blood to write all sorts of obscenities all over the walls, and Vicky plus Art in a little heart. Eventually, she starts screaming out and gives birth to Art's decapitated head, forever traumatizing not just me, but also the nurse checking up on her. This movie is too long. It's miles better than the first film. Damien Leone took criticism to heart and wrote a very compelling story and characters into this movie. It also helps that all the actors are great too. Lauren Lavera is a fantastic final girl, and Sienna is just a wonderfully written, multi-dimensional, well-rounded character. Elliot Fulham knew exactly how to play a little brother character, and the sibling chemistry between him and Lauren was palpable. David Howard Thornton managed to make Art even more terrifying and sadistic this time around, and it's just an absolute joy to watch. My only criticism of this movie is that it's needlessly dependent on gross out shock, and it's way too fucking long. Thankfully, Damien has heard these concerns about the length and said that the treatment for the third movie he's working on is too long and is possibly going to have to split it into a third and fourth movie to avoid making another 2.5 hour long film. 2.5 hours is way too long for a horror movie, much less a slasher. Slashers, in my personal opinion, should be a tight 90, maybe a little over sometimes, depending. This one's definitely not for the squeamish. I have a pretty strong stomach for non-surgical gore, but I had to watch Allie's death scene through my fingers because it was just way too much for me. If you like the first movie, or even if you disliked it like I did, you'll have a good time with this one. Just make sure to schedule time to get up and stretch, and maybe don't eat while watching this one. Thanks for watching the video. Let me know what you guys thought about Terrifier 2 down in the comments, and I look forward to reading them. Thank you guys so very much for watching the video. If you liked it, give it a thumbs up. If you want to see more videos like this one, please consider subscribing. And until then, I'll see you guys next time. Bye-bye.